Before 2007, he wasn't doing good. He started growing coffee, life changed.
Okay.
Say hi.
Cima,
Cima.
with El Cielo. Oh, thought about this song when he named the farm.
Ah, really?
Yeah. It's very romantic.
Very romantic.
This is the Reyes Guzman. They work with Saglas. This is the Dubon. They work with Phil and Sebastian. There he is. Yo, the farm. Yeah, near la casa.
It's a 1.7. And the variety? How many?
Pacas.
Only pacas.
5% geisha, 10% paranema, 85% pacas.
The majority variety.
The bigger variety.
volume.
Primera vez que me visita.
Sí, he's happy to see faces. There's only one other buyer. Do you know Project Origin?
Project Origin?
Yeah. Sasha Sesti buys Milagrito. Now we have more Cima, so we want to share it.
How many hectares in Shima?
1.4 hectares.
20, 30 bags? More or less.
Yeah, so more or less. This is Pedro's wife.
Muy limpio.
림피오는 깨끗하다. 클린. 둘세는 달다. He's good at Spanish, isn't it? How many years he's in coffee?
18 years.
18 years.
Before 2007, he wasn't doing good. He started growing coffee, life changed.
Okay, very nice.
To welcome you to his family, and he's happy that you're going to be part of the business. Yeah, he's very happy. This visit makes him feel an important part of this chain because it's not only a business between the buyer and the exporter, it's also a business that includes the producer. So he wants to thank you for including him.
Any particular reason he started coffee?
He's saying that was the popular product in the community. It's a profitable agriculture. And he wanted to do coffee because he thought coffee was going to be a more stable business as he wanted to invest in his family school, the future of them.
What was the major product? People coffee.
He was never money from vegetables, unfortunately.
No es que estamos al 100 bien con la agricultura del café, pero vivimos la vida. Porque este año ha sido el año más caro de la
It
producción.
started as conventional and then transitioned to specialty.
What year?
2010,
Has he won the Cup of Excellence?
sí, como unas 4 veces.
4 times.
Cuatro.
7 was the highest.
Pacas?
Yeah, 7.
Total hectare?
5 hectares.
He won by more property.
Eso es lo que quisiera, pero los presupuestos.
But he doesn't have enough budget. He would like to with you. Business and prices work for him and also work for
Mi
you.
producto, ojalá que no sea solo por primera vez, sino la acción, porque esto lo motive a uno a producir café y calidad, ya sabiendo que tenemos compradores y seguro el negocio.
Because of this type of relationship and because of this business, they can guarantee their future. And he appreciates your interest because we can't grow coffee without the buyer.
And feel good, really better through the coffee.
Yesterday, the cupping, his pacas is one of the, best coffee that we tasted. This type of relationship also means a lot for us to, introduce Honduras coffee. We haven't been able to introduce coffee through Honduras. He's the very first guy we are connection, so it means a lot for us.
Me alegro mucho entonces porque visitas que ustedes hacen a nuestro país más y a nuestra comunidad, pues uno es un éxito.
More than 10 years ago when I was traveling almost whole Honduras to meet a coffee producer who want to start a specialty coffee. That moment I'm feeling was not good economy. I'm feeling a specialty coffee Honduras is through the specialty coffee. Costa Rica was good that moment. Honduras is not really good now.
So he's saying that is to communicate through coffee and to show coffee. And he sees Americans, he sees Europeans, he sees Asia coming, and he feels very proud. And coffee is wonderful because it wasn't because of the connectivity and communication that we have through coffee, you wouldn't be here and he wouldn't be talking to you.
Y lo más bonito de eso en su país, llevan mi café, llevan el café de otros y se lo venden al consumidor final y se siente satisfecho por el gusto que le da el café.
He's saying that the pressure coming on my side. He's saying that he collects the coffee and all of the coffee, but at the very end they trust me, so they give me the coffee, then I do my job. I'm his brain, and I'm like, no, it's the opposite.
Y los conocen, nosotros solo conocemos unos poquitos, tanto como...
But I'm telling him that if it wasn't because of him, yeah, he'd probably be selling eggs. And But this is the beauty of it, that we can connect. This is a chain. And again, he's very happy to get to meet you. New faces of the industry. Very excited to work.
Good time.
Vamos a la cima, vamos a la cima.
첫 농장이 굉장히 임프레스드하게. 진짜 이게 좀 다이렉트 트레이드 같다.
타요. 재밌는 경험 다 해보네.
Trajiste a mí tu juventud cuando me voy. Yo te amé.
Geisha tree.
하나하나 전부 다 우아하다.
먹어도 돼요?
Yeah, try it. First coffee chain.
예.
아빠야.
무일 있고.
노란색 과일이 조금 더 산미가 낮고
단맛이.
커피 똑같아. 드세요. 수학 끝나고 이게 얼마나 있는가를 보고 내년 수학을 짐작을 하지.
Expanding his farm or he's like stabilized whole area?
He just planted that new lot over there. Small section, but that's it. No more.
Do you remember how many bags we can get from?
The honey was $5, and there's another lot of wash that we will cup tomorrow. 2 lots from this farm.
That one has like pretty much similar.
A little bigger, I think.
Little bigger.
8 bags. Pedro will be 13 bags.
That's fair enough. Wish we can have more.
We'll start it. First date.
야, 보통 농장에 오면은 나무 컨디션
Because
봐야 되고
Honduran beef.
그리고 커피 체리도 그냥 경험 차원에서 먹는다기보다 사실 체리 맛도 좋은 게 커피 맛도 좋을 확률이 높아서 지금 뭐 수확이 거의 다 끝나가지고 우리는 어쨌든 마지막 커피를 먹어보긴 했으니까 그래도 괜찮은 것 같아. 근데 원래 농장에 오는 시기랑 커핑하는 시기가 달라져. 지금 우리가 커핑을 했으니까 당연히 여기 체리들이
없겠죠?
없는 게 맞는 거지. 근데 농장 왔을 때 체리가 막 있는 거를 보고 이때 농장 컨디션 한번 체크하기는 하지. 이제 어느 정도 우리 확신을 갖고 해도 되는 게 어쨌든 결과물이 괜찮았으니까.
또 내년에는 사면 이제 또 샀던 농장들 꼭 오고 내년에는 조금 더 준비해 준답니다.
How many pickers do they usually have?
Between 15 and 20.
50 to 20.
These ones for next year. Next year production.
그러니까 2살 된 나무가 한 3살 정도 되면 생산이 되기 시작하거든요. 그러니까 내년에는 이제 얘네들도 이제 생산이 되겠지. 그래서 아까 전에 이제 내년 되면 더 줄 수 있다는 게 이제 이런 게 이제 더 생산이 되면 양이 좀 더 많아질 거니까 그런 게 아닐까.
엄청 빽빽하게 있어서 수확하는 그 과정이 엄청 힘들 것 같은데. 다 손으로 하는 거잖아요.
우리 차 타고 오는 것도 사실 힘들었잖아요. 근데 진짜 이런 거 다 바구니 하나 끼고 모아가지고 백 지고 날라가지고
이 산이 다 커피 산지예요?
거의 그렇다고 하는데 여기 커뮤니티가 거의 대부분이 티 농사 하는 데라고 하니까 커피로 약간 상생하지 않을까? 아까 전에 피커들이 한 15명에서 20명 있다고 했는데 여기 지역에 있는 사람들이래. 근데 여기만 있는 게 아니잖아. 뭐 여기 옆에 동네도 수확을 할 거고 그 옆에도 할 거고 그러니까 그 피커들이 농장들을 쭉 돌면서 이제 피킹을 하면서 돈을 벌면서 살겠지. 근데 이제 이들도 그들이 필요해. 그들은 커피를 여기서 계속 생산하면 어쨌든 자기 일거리들이 계속 있는 거니까 그게 서로 니즈가 맞지 않아. 요즘 다른 산지들도 그렇고 피커들 구하는 게 엄청 어렵거든. 이게 엄청 힘든 일이잖아. 그러다 보니까 이제 피커들이 어느 순간부터 핸드폰 같은 게 생기고 소셜 미디어 이런 게 생기니까 저 바깥 세상에 막 다른 것들이 엄청나잖아. 그런 거 보면서 아메리칸들이 꿈꾸고 사람들이 이제 많이 떠나는 거지. 그래서 볼리비아 같은 데들은 피커들을 구하기 힘들어서 다른 지역에서 아예 데리고 와. 근데 내가 가족이 있어. 그럼 내가 혼자만 올 수 없잖아. 가족이 막 다 이동해서 수학 기간 동안 피킹을 하는 거야. 그럼 그런 사람들이 지낼 수 있는 집이 있어야 되고 그걸 밥도 줘야 되고 필요한 것도 사줘야 되고 이제 이런 것들이 다 돈인 거지. 쉽지는 않아. 그래서 이제 농부들도 가능한 한 이제 피커들한테 이제 좋은 대우를 해줄 수 있는 환경을 만들려고 하지.
Ah, small cat.
Another cat?
No, baby cat.
Korea is like Gombe.
Gombe.
Go with us.
Yeah. Going to Busan. This is where the cherries go, and this is his warehouse. The pulper fermentation tank, and more fermentation areas. And these are the barrels where he processes the anaerobic.
나무 키운 농장에 이제 갖다 심기 위해서 6만
No, more. That's probably like 9 months.
4 muchas trabajo.
Sí.
Yes.
네 번 나눠서 따야 된다고. 빠빠야 맛 한번 보세요. 이거는 완전 빠빠야 맛이 강하게 높습니다. 게이샤 향이 좀 다를까?
아까 확실히 달라.
향이 더 풍부하죠. 마음에 들었다.
진짜 약간 향이 다르네.
커피씨.
꽤 크지. 와, 맛있어.
Papaya.
파파야.
That is from also from you?
No, I can't remember the name of the farm from a friend who brought the seeds from Panama. They're good seeds.
You produce only small, right?
Yeah, very little. He just started.
노병도 없고 건강해 보여.
He's a good producer.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
amigo.
Gracias.
어제 테이블에서 마지막 좋았던 커피.
게이샤 워시드 그 농장주 만나러 갑니다.
Okay, guys. Alvarado and here Marlon.
Nice to meet you.
Marlon Alvarado. He is the owner of the coffee we tasted. Really nice, delicate geisha.
Yes.
Yeah, this is him, and he has his family as well here. His brother, his mother. Oh, his mother is Urpania. Last coffee on the last table.
Family has a best geisha.
The name of the farm?
Yeah, we have to look for it. He doesn't know. They just plant.
So many.
En total del terreno, ¿cuánto es? 0.7.
Less than 1 hectare.
Less than 1 hectare. He doesn't know because there's like one geisha lot and one SL28 lot. And this is the wet mill when they process the coffee.
이런 경우는 또 처음이네. 아직 농장 이름도 안 정해졌대. 올해가 처음 수확하는.
Last geisha.
Limpio. All over there geisha.
Urpania.
Urpania.
저거스터.
And Katy. Marlon's farm near La Sierra, down here. In Urpania, higher elevation.
Over there. Yeah.
1700 meters.
Beautiful coffee.
The first farm they had was Apacas farm, and we sold it to a company called Dune in California. And then last year they started to produce geisha, and they have a lot of really good geisha, so I wanted to show you some of it. Marlon's is first production, Urpania's is second production. The first one was Pacas, is this farm right here, and second lot was geisha, and they work all together.
Family business.
Yeah, like a family business, yes. And Marlon and Ray are doing the work in the field. Urpania and Katy do the work in beneficio, like with the coffee and sorting and checking the fermentation, all of that.
Good system.
Yeah.
Their farms locate like different areas.
Different.
But they process coffee all together
All
here?
together here. So Urpania's Pacas is this one. Ray's Pacas is down below. Williams is that one over there, where you see. Urpania's Geisha above Cima del Cielo. Not close, but in the same area. And Ray and Marlon's Geisha and SF28 is down below. That's where we're gonna go right now. And in the same place, there's like the property that is going to be planted for Katy. Also, if you want Katy's coffee, this is the moment.
We want to even Pacas. It is possible.
Yeah, the Pacas is already committed, but we can see what's going on next year.
Next year.
We should go see the farm before the rain comes.
Yes. Sure.
Let's go. No, Marlon is a young producer, 26. He's turning 27.
오 예쁘다.
건강해 보이지 않나요?
입에서 윤기가 나요.
흔한 느낌은 아니라.
이 소일도 엄청 건강할 거고 이제 처음 심어요. 그래서 토양이 지금 아직 엄청 건강한 거지. 그래서 이제 고도가 1,500인데 게이샤 지금 맛있게 나왔잖아. 그래서 사실 드문데 엄마는 1,700이지만 여기 1,500에서 그래도 맛있게 나왔는데. 속이 이렇게 건강한 거 같잖아. 딱딱하지 않고 경화가 안 됐잖아.
What do you think, guys?
Buena Vista. Finca Buena Vista.
No. I know you were going to say that. Too many.
Right,
I think, guys, we need to come up with a name.
Yeah.
What proposed before here for coffee?
Before here, beans, corn. That was the product before.
First produce, coffee produce.
Yeah. The land used to be like that one over there. Nothing planted. Like that one. That's theirs too. That's the lot that they are going to plant for cattle.
And here is only geisha?
No, Geisha and SL28 in the bottom.
it's okay.
The SL28 already sold and the Pacas already sold because they had a buyer before.
Okay.
Buyer buys geisha, but it's not a company that will like sell geisha because their market is different.
But they already produced Pacas and SL20 before?
No, Pacas before, and this year, this farm, first time, geisha and SL28.
But SL20 already sold.
Yeah, that's what the buyer wanted. He didn't want the geisha.
He didn't want the geisha.
Yeah, and now they like to buy like the exotics they like to buy are more like coffee and infusion. Really? Say would buy geishas, but say wants to buy like 87, 88 points like Pink Bourbon. So I advising them to know where to invest the resources that they're going to get. They're young, right? and they have a lot of opportunities for the future. And I think this is a good opportunity for them to sell the coffee at a very good price because the quality is worth it. But they also need to invest because if they don't reinvest, everything might go to waste. So we have to be smart and we have to think for the long term that, you know, like this is a really nice opportunity. This is one of the most beautiful farms of geisha in the area. And I think they need to continue working the way they are, but improving infrastructure they are going to need. I look like you need coffee.
I would love to.
Yeah, I know.
I need some coffee. Let's go. Urbania Guzman.
It's better than an organic farm.
Yeah, looks.
They take care of the soil.
And also soft.
Yeah.
This area used to be
Vegetables.
the vegetables.
Yeah.
해하다가보다 다른 거 시다가 이렇게 하면 고향에서 에너지가 많아서 커피가 맛있다. 4%밖에 안 된단다. 전부 다 아이들 다 나눠줬습니다. 엄마 조금만 가지고 다 나눠.
엄마의 마음.
다 좋네. 엄마 다 좋네.
아낌없이 주는 마음.
너무 아름다운.
와.
와.
근데 이런 풀 하나 해놔도 너무 건강하다 이거. 마음에 들었고 엄청 소프트하다 이거 봐. 폭신폭신하고.
Vacas.
바카스.
Geisha. You see the differences? The
Geisha.
branches are longer. The color of the leaves is darker.
바카스.
Smaller.
게이샤.
Diablo para cargar.
입에 이거 한번 먹어볼래? 약간 꽃향이 좀 많이 나요. 그 게이샤 나무 먹으면 보통 파파야 맛이 많이 나요.
우와, 와 신기해.
응, 귀여워.
그라시아스.
먹을 손도 없는데 찍을 손은 어디 있니?
So good.
방송 키기 전에 팀장님께 제 미래를 물어봤더니 똑같이 보라고 했습니다.